Hey viewers, my name's Kara. I'm your Tuesday host on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we are talking about Bible study and Christo-Pagans. There are two questions that we're talking about this week, and the full text will be in the description. Please read those. It's a bit longer than what I will address. The first question is basically about pagans who choose to engage in Bible study groups and what pagans can learn from the Bible, whether our philosophies and beliefs have any kind of way that they go together or not. And then the second person asked specifically for us to talk about those who call themselves Christo-Pagans, Christo-Witches, Christian-Wiccans, and about pagans who have Christian leanings or Christians who have pagan leanings. So I'm basically just going to talk about all of that as a big jumble. Read the two specific questions below. So the first thing I would like to say is that for those of you who may not have encountered them, although if you watch this channel you should have, there are people out there who blend pagan and Christian beliefs. And now I say that if you watch this channel you should know because our Monday host, our current Monday host, Rich, considers himself a Christo-witch or a Christo-pagan. But his username is Christo-witch, so we also had someone else audition to be a substitute recently who is a Christian pagan of some sort, Ashley Darling, and there are plenty of other people that I've run into on YouTube who blend the two. The first thing, I guess, is that, yes, there are people who do this and who blend these two seemingly very different things. When I first found out that people did this, I was like, what? That makes no sense whatsoever. But since then, I have learned a bit more about the different ways that people blend it together and how they each make sense for the individual. So I do understand it a lot more, although I personally do not still incorporate any of my Catholic upbringing, for example, except maybe some of the practices. A lot of people point out that Catholicism is a very ritualistic type. You know, they do a lot involving candles and incense smoke and all of this, and so there is a little bit of that element for me, and I suppose that if I were to go back into a Catholic church, that's the thing that I would really still identify with in my current belief, is the use of candle lighting and all this different types of things. So I guess I should talk about why it is such a strange idea for many of us. And I know when I first started hearing about this years ago, when I was a new practitioner to my current path, even now when I come across other people who are hearing about it for the first time, the thing that seems the strangest to us, or the thing that seems wrong about it, is that so much of Christianity teaches people that pagans are evil and wrong and bad and to be avoided and that we're going to hell or that we worship Satan or all of these different things. Christianity generally teaches that witchcraft is wrong. So it makes little sense for a lot of people to hear, oh, well, I'm a witch, but I'm a Christian witch, or I'm a Christian who does magic, or I'm a pagan who believes in the Christian God. That seems like a complete disconnect there, because we're taught that they don't go together. So I know that years ago, I had one friend on some blog site, I don't even remember now, I don't think we've really kept in touch, but I have one friend who is a Christian pagan of some sort. They were getting a lot of hatred, not only from Christians saying, you're not a real Christian because you do magic and that's evil and blah, 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 but they were also getting a lot of hate from witches saying, how dare you worship this other god who told people that we are evil, and, you're not allowed to do that, basically. And so, being a Christo-pagan, or whatever type of label of blending you choose to use, is sort of like a mutt of other types of things, like you think about mixed breed dogs or mixed race individuals. You're in that area where it's a blending of two different things and neither side wants to claim you. And that's really difficult. And, because you've got the Christians saying you're not really a Christian because you're a witch. And you've got the witches saying you're not one of us because you believe in the wrong God. So it's got to be a really, really difficult place to be in. And I sympathize with that because, and this brings me into the next point about you can have a Christian with pagan leanings or a pagan with Christian leanings. My mother is a Christian. She identifies as Christian, but she does some things that I consider witchcraft. There are, folk magic type things. She reads tarot, she does crystal healing, stuff like that. She doesn't use this term, and I respect that, but I would basically consider her a Christian with pagan leanings. And then he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think of Rich, our Monday host, as being basically a pagan, but with Christian leanings, because his practice is pagan, but he works with the Christian pantheon of deities. And so that's the way I see it. And I know other people who do that as well. So on the one hand, you have the people who are mostly Christian who also do magic, and then you have the people who are basically pagan but choose to work with the Christian deity. So since I know people who do this and who blend these faiths and ideas, philosophies, if you will, together, I do sympathize with it a lot more, even though I personally don't see all of how it works, because that's not my personal belief. But I see it working for other people. And that's what I think is important. And because of this whole issue with being stuck in the middle and neither side claiming them, that's why you guys have probably heard me say before that I consider Christo-Pagans, Christian witches, blah blah blah. I consider them pagan, even though they worship an Abrahamic god, and paganism definition to me is usually anything that's non-Abrahamic. I think that blended faiths that include paganism are part of paganism. If not, the core. I think it depends on how the person believes. But I think it's important that, if one group isn't going to claim them or isn't going to welcome them, then we should be the ones to do so. The thing about paganism is that so many of us are completely different from each other, and if we were to say that only the people who believe closely to what I believe can be pagans and be part of my community, then not only are we closing ourselves off to learning from so many other people, we're also just pushing them away and making them think, well, maybe I'm not pagan, maybe I can't be part of that community because I'm not welcome because I believe the wrong way. And that's completely ridiculous because we all believe differently. I'm not the type of person who just says everything is pagan, but I think that if parts of your beliefs and philosophies are under the pagan umbrella, then you're welcome to be part of the community and learn from other people. And everyone is, of course. I know there are complete devout Christians and Catholics who make themselves part of the pagan community here on YouTube and learn from us and become friends with us, and I think that's awesome. Even though their beliefs and practices aren't pagan, they still are part of the community in the way that we get together and learn from each other, and that's really cool. And I apologize, I'm kind of getting away from the topic here, but I just think that's really important to remember, that this group of people is in this in-between area, and they have to belong somewhere. But yes, so the way I understand it, you can be a Christian-based person who also happens to still do magic, which Christians did throughout history a lot. There are books specifically on the magic and the rituals that Gnostic Christians did, or that early Christians still did certain types of magic, or things that became folk magic. You can go up to probably a lot of people that you know who are generally Christian people still believe in certain things that they might consider superstitions or old wives' tales, but you look at it and you know that it's magic, that kind of thing. There are a lot of people who identify as Christian who also have beliefs in magic and that kind of thing. And then there are the pagans who have pagan beliefs, pagan practices, but find something in that deity. Which, why shouldn't they? Because just because it's the Abrahamic God, it's no different than being more drawn to the Greek pantheon, or the Egyptian pantheon, or the Hindu pantheon. Yes, the definition for me is usually that anything non-Abrahamic is pagan, but sometimes that blends, and that's just how it works. And in the book, Paganism, by Joyce and River Higginbotham, they have that illustration on page 9 of the umbrella of paganism, and there are rain droplets underneath the umbrella of different types. One of the raindrops is mixed faiths or blended paths. I think it's called blended paths. And that is meant to include things like Christian Wicca, Judeo-paganism, all those different types of things where it's blended with the Abrahamic traditions. And why shouldn't it be? We all know that so much of Christianity already has blended in the pagan traditions that came before it, because that's what happened when people converted. So there are these people who already kind of have pagan leanings, even if they don't accept that and still think that pagans are something totally different and evil and wrong. That's why education exists. That's why we're reducing prejudice by helping people know about it. But yes, so basically, to sum it all up, I don't personally still blend that because I have this blockage against how I was raised, with Catholics and Christians saying that all of these other things are wrong and evil and bad, and those are the things that I believe now. I don't really want to consider myself part of that community anymore, but I do understand the things that can blend together. I see it working for people, I observe it, and I see it being meaningful and significant to them, and I think that's great. Wherever you find that is wonderful for you. And I do think it's interesting whenever I mention to like a pagan friend that I meet in real life, I'll say, oh yeah, I've got a Christo-Pagan friend, blah blah blah, and they look at me like I'm nuts because they've never heard of it before. There are still pagans out there who don't know that people blend, and there are obviously countless Christians who don't know that some Christians blend in pagan beliefs and other things. So I think it's just something that we should become more aware of. And absolutely, there are more Christian-Wiccans and Christo-Pagans and people of that nature on YouTube than even I realized, because this picture project that I'm doing with my personal channel, people are sending me in pictures and telling me what their path is. I've already got a handful of people who qualify in this blended faith category, and I only knew 2 of them before, but I've got 3 or 4 more that I had never known about. So there are definitely more of these Christian-Pagan, Christo-Wiccan, Christo-Witch, whatever term you choose to use. There are a lot more of those practitioners than I ever thought. So absolutely, there are ways that these things can fit together, even if we don't personally agree with them or if we don't personally resonate with it. It's working for somebody, so it does exist. And it's just one more thing that I think we can all benefit from learning from, for sure. And I forgot to say the most basic thing I meant to say in the beginning, which is just that pagans can benefit from reading the Bible for the sheer simplistic reason that it's helping us learn about a different belief. And especially for me, I like to know about the belief that people most often confuse for, negating what we believe. People don't come up to you and say, learn about Hinduism, then you'll understand. Celebrate Hanukkah, then you'll understand, or something like that. They always say read the Bible, and then you won't want to be a witch anymore because you'll realize it's evil. So why not read that thing and already know what it's about? Which, of course, I had experience with it through my upbringing, but there are some people who are raised pagan and don't have that background of already knowing about the Bible. Absolutely, I think they should read the Bible. I think we should know what other people are saying about us, and it's the same with how I say, read every author, read that book series that everyone's making fun of and saying is so ridiculous just so you can have your own opinion on it. I think it's good just to look into those things and read other things so that you can engage in a conversation about it, so that you're not caught off guard saying, well, I have no idea what it's about, but. And so if you have been caught saying that, which I know I have about a lot of other topics, they're just on the list of things that you want to look into later on in life when you have some time. At least that's my personal goal, is always to know a little bit about everything that I can in order to understand each other better. I didn't mean to ramble, I didn't script this video, but I hope you enjoyed that, and hope you got something out of it even though it was a little bit jumbled at times. I apologize for that. Thank you very much for watching, thank you for sticking around with me all these years, and I will see you next time. Until then, don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.